What is going on, 20 plus? Hey, welcome to Culture Convos. We are so excited to have you. My name's Tyler.
I'm Angel.
And we are so excited to be here with you tonight. We wish that we could be live. However, we are online. We want you to stay safe as we're approaching holidays. And we know that this has just been the year of digital. Everything we've done from Zoom calls to Google Meet, it's been done digital, but it hasn't stopped what God's been doing in 2020 and how we're holding nothing back.
Moving out of 2020 into 21, I just want to let you guys know that 20 Plus has a lot in store for 2021. So whatever the restrictions are, whatever you have to do to be safe in 2021, we are ready, but also so excited to move forward. So don't disregard church right now because we are still moving, we're still going, and we are still trying to create an atmosphere and a community and a culture for you.
Yes, and hey, as promised, we told you we have two big announcements coming up, and right now we're going to start with the first one, so we're going to pass it over. Let's take it. Here we go.
What is up, 20 Plus? Hope you're doing well wherever you are watching from. I know I'm excited for this Culture Convos, being online together. I know this year has been crazy, but I kind of have a personal update for you guys. And as we know, a lot of transition has happened in 2020 for you, whether you've been in school and you're doing it online or you've been at work, all these different things are happening. And God's been doing something exciting in my life, and it's very bittersweet because I love all of you, but I was asked recently to accept a new position at River Valley and be our executive pastor of influence. And what that means is I'm overseeing our publishing side with books, with River Valley Worship, so I get an amazing opportunity to work with new people as well as overseeing our network where we help and train and resource other churches. And so with that, I've been continuing to lead 20 Plus, but it's obvious that I'm not able to pour into 20 Plus what needs to be poured into, and there's new vision for me in my new role. And so I'm excited to introduce to you our brand new 20 Plus pastor. It is Pastor Katie Schneider, who is here with us. So I know you are just going jacked behind your screen. You're typing in the chat, saying how excited you are. But Katie, welcome. 20 Plus, you're taking over. You're at our city campus. If you don't know Katie, she's our associate campus pastor, and she is leading 20 Plus starting now, which is super exciting. But what are you excited about? You're stepping in, leading 20 Plus. You're kicking me out, but what are you excited about?
Honestly, so much. It's kind of crazy to think about it all. The past couple of weeks, I feel like God has just given me excitement for this ministry and for this age group that is so on fire for God. And I feel like it's just gifted in so many unique and beautiful ways. And so I'm excited to take all of that energy and heart and chase after the Twin Cities and tell people about Jesus, because that's what it's all about, is for people to know the name of Jesus. So, I'm getting married in a couple of weeks, which is wild. So Brett and I are so excited to take this on together and to serve the young adults of River Valley Church. We're coming in and we're not wanting to be like, okay, this is our thing now. It's not. We're here to serve and to come alongside and to push people into their dreams, into their purpose, and into their calling. So that's what we're.
It's so funny because Mac and I, we got married right at the beginning of 20 Plus. I became 20 Plus pastor. We got engaged and like 6 months later. So you're like jumping in right in that same time, 20 Plus, getting married. So I'm just so excited. I know that Pastor Katie, you're the right person. If you don't know Brett as well, her future husband, he is incredible. And so you're just gonna love them. And I'm so excited because I just feel like I just can step away and you guys are in such good hands. But we'll be taking the next few months to transition it over, making sure that she feels well equipped, but already she's just like stepping in and doing it. So, but without talking about all that's going on in the future, we're here right now and we have Culture Convos online, and we actually interviewed two people. We'll be sharing with you two people about their testimonies and what God has done through 20 Plus. And we couldn't think of a better thing to do than hear about what God has done and talk about what we're excited about. So I know I'm excited, you're excited.
I'm pumped. It's gonna be a great night. So tune in, keep tuning in, Culture Convos, let's do it.
Can you believe it? Ooh. That is the best news I've ever heard. Yes. Little bittersweet because we love Logan. Logan has set 20 Plus up in such a beautiful way, and we are so thankful for all he's done for this ministry and all he's given. But we are stoked to have Katie Schneider. Last name's about to change, but Katie Schneider for now as the new pastor of 20 Plus. Everyone, you're in your living rooms, but just give her a little whoop whoop. Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
We love you, Katie. So excited.
Yes. And Pastor Logan, we're not done with you yet. We're so blessed to have him with his last interview here at 20 Plus, interviewing our very own Adam Hildebrand. If you don't know who Adam is an incredible guy, and you're going to see how 20 Plus was huge in his life during the season that he's going to share with us in this testimony. Let's go.
Well, welcome, Adam. Glad to be sitting down talking with you.
Thanks for having me, brother. It's a pleasure being here.
It's a bittersweet time for me as I'm wrapping up my time here in 20 Plus, but I'm excited to hear from you because you are an amazing testimony of what God has done through this ministry, and it's people like you and stories like yours that really are what inspires all of us to continue to keep going, really in our journey with faith, but even as pastors and leaders, you're what it's all about. And so I'm excited to hear a little bit about that today. But get us in the frame of mind into your world today. You know, as you're a student, but you're a specialized student. What does your day-to-day look like right now?
Day-to-days right now include a lot of fixing teeth. So right now I'm a dental student, and I'm currently on my pediatric rotation. So I'm serving, the Go Kids at church, but also all the Go Kids that are future Go Kids that are running around in the dental clinics needing some tooth work done. So just staying busy with that, and just happy to be seeing people and serving people.
So what is that like to do dental work on a child? Because I can imagine what that could be like. Obviously, you handle it with much more grace than I would. But I mean, do you have kids that are just crazy and they won't sit still, or what does that look like?
I had one this morning. It's tough to keep them, contained within the dental chair, but you try your best, calm down, and just honestly, a lot of patience comes in. It just is, just constantly working on your heart to just give patience and extend love. So
you're already way more professional than I would be. I'm talking about how hard is it, and you're talking about they give you patience. Clearly, you should be on the other side of this. But so 20 Plus, obviously, you've been involved for several years now. But catch us up to where it was at the beginning. I know you kind of have a crazy start to how you ended up even at River Valley and within 20 Plus and serving. It was really something that you didn't really imagine would have happened in your life. What was that, and kind of where were you there?
Yeah, well, let's flash back a couple of years, probably into some of the darkest points in my life. It's coming up on about 2 years now, and yeah, it was just a dark time with school, and people who are going through professional schools, they know it's just a grind in the classroom, and that just puts a big strain on your life. And like you said, I never expected that I would be here, let alone, what happened. But yeah, about 2 years ago, I was engaged and set to be married in 2019. And the plans fell through there. But again, how I ended up at River Valley was your original question was. It was just through a simple, extended invite that happened months before. This was probably 5 months before I even came to River Valley. It was just a simple invitation, hey, you should come. So for everyone out there, I just want to address and say, don't overlook invitations, because other people would suffer the consequences, and I just know I would have suffered the consequence of maybe missing out on eternity just because of a simple lack of an invite.
So you weren't following Jesus at that time?
No, I would say I knew of Jesus, and I had I knew foundational theology because I took a bunch of theology classes in college, and but I don't think I knew Jesus on a personal level at that time.
So someone invited you. This was while you were still engaged,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden your engagement breaks off. And I mean, obviously, as many can imagine, probably very few people will go through something like that in their life. It's not something you wish upon people, to find somebody you think you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And obviously it's not fun to think about, not fun to talk about, but what were you feeling during that time? Because obviously God led you to show up to church, but I'm sure at times you felt like church is the last place you wanted to be, because there might have been some some shame there, or there maybe some anger that a God could even let something like that happen to you. What were some of those emotions that you were wrestling with when you were stepping into the church?
There's just the big one that comes to my head was just lonely and looking for community. And it's just, I just remember times where there's just like just honestly crying on my stupid old ratty apartment floor in Minneapolis for hours, like each night. And that's just a lonely time to be and a place to be. And just what it looks like moving forward out of that is just my advice for people is just don't stay there. Like whether you're going through a breakup or a hard time or difficulty with family, is just don't stay in that moment. Because honestly, I've been there and it eats you up like alive. So I'm just thankful for, River Valley, for spearheading a ministry that creates a space for people to come in and find community and learn what it's like to, one, read your Bible, follow Jesus, meet Jesus, and have a relationship with him. And that's what it's all about. So I just want to thank Pastor Logan and the team here, and thank Jesus, honestly, for just, flipping my life around like that.
That's amazing. That's so good to hear how, you come in from maybe, as you mentioned, the darkest part or the darkest place in your life, and then you're starting to be transformed by this ministry. What has community looked like since then? You kind of are growing in your faith, right. You're meeting people, and now you've stepped up to a place where you've hosted, pre-COVID, had a lot of people at your house.
Yes.
But what has maybe the last year been like as you look at your time as you're transitioning from this dark place to this new place, and now you're leading from a place of strength and health, and we're not perfect, but how have you seen God use you in that way?
Well, honestly, and everybody else can say this, but you just never think that God can use your story or use it for good. And looking back in that moment, I would have said, this is bad. There's no way anything good can come out of this. And just that's the cool thing about God, is he's a redeeming God, and that he loves us and he cares for us. And he brings good to everything, good and restoration. And that's the God that we serve. And just when you were sharing about what community looks like for me, is these past couple of years, it's been, and I didn't prepare this just kind of came into my head on when you were saying it's just iron sharpening iron. And just the community of brothers specifically around me who we're roommates now, we live together. So we share walls with each other, and we all share one bathroom, 5 guys in one house. Wow. We share one bathroom.
Yeah, so. Extra prayer sent you.
But that's just almost a daily sharpening of iron, and sometimes it's even unspoken, of just challenging in your faith, and it's just a great way to grow and just to serve other people and carry out God's will in your life.
Totally. Yeah, the power of community and the power of people, and for those watching right now, it's something that is very hard because COVID has caused community to look different. But I would just encourage, everybody to say, let's continue to seek community, whether it's Zoom, whether it's FaceTime, or, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There will be an end to this. Even though at times it doesn't feel like it, God has community for you. God has people for you out there. And so do whatever you can, because in those lonely places, in those dark places, God is going to meet you there. But if you don't seek it out, I think at times it's like God's right there. He's so close, and it's like just take that extra step or just open that door and he'll meet you. And the last thing I'd love for you to share is for people who maybe feel like that. They feel, okay, what do I have to do to take that next step? It's like God's here, and they're maybe in that point. Maybe they had a bad breakup, or maybe they lost the job that they thought was their forever job, or they had a family issue, and there's a gap in between there. What is that thing that got you to jump in and to close that gap, and maybe where they're at right now?
Yeah, just what I see is the story of just God lighting your steps. Don't think about this end goal or this end thing, because for me, when I find myself with the most unrest of my soul or the most just turmoil in my spirit, that's when I look up from God's lamp and I try to look towards plans that maybe I had for my life, or or just desires that my flesh wants. And that's just when I find the most unrest in my soul. And just my advice for the people going through hard times, because this world is hard, man. But what I find is when I have the most like just peace and ease, it's just when I'm following one step at a time. Just following the lamp that's been lit before one step. And what that looked like for my story was showing up at a life group and being scared as heck that you don't belong here. The enemy speaking, you don't belong here. And I almost wholeheartedly believed it and drove away. And just taking one step, God's gonna light another one, and then another one after that. And just that's my advice. Just follow the one step.
Wow, Adam, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. You were so authentic in that it's cool to see that no matter what you're walking in with, there's a community that will not only come alongside you, but a community that points you to Jesus. What a testimony that was, Adam. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. We love your story. We love hearing about how the 20 plus community has impacted you in your life and your walk with Jesus. Next, we have an interview from our very own brand new 20 plus lead pastor, Katie Schneider, and she's interviewing our friend Molly Rushmeier. If you don't know Molly, sorry, because she is absolutely amazing, and I am so excited you guys to hear her story.
Molly, I'm so excited to be able to talk to you and just for you to have a moment to share what God has done in your life. I love that we're doing this for Culture Convos, that we're just getting to hear people's stories and what God has done in and through you. So it's an honor to be able to sit next to you and to have this conversation with you. So before we dive into anything kind of going on in the past, I would love just for you to take a moment and share what you're doing now, what life kind of looks like for you right now.
Yeah, right now I am an intern for 20 plus and it's the best thing ever. I love it so much, just being a part of our Valley at all is just so amazing. I get to live at the intern house, which is so fun. I'm kind of in between seasons job-wise, trying to figure out what my next step is. I'm not really babysitting anymore, but I also did just graduate from college. So yeah, just trying to figure out what my next step is, but enjoying the season.
Right,
kind of best ever.
Like a hard place, but a good place to be, where God can do anything in a moment.
Seriously, and I can just pour into what I want to pour into.
That's good, yeah. So, you know, obviously a lot has happened to get you to kind of this point where you're at in life right now. And I know that we've talked and you don't have a super religious family growing up, but I'd love to hear from you just how growing into a young adult has been and what that kind of looked like for you in your journey.
Yeah. So I feel like I always knew that there was a God, but I didn't get to meet him until I was in middle school, where I learned the importance of having a relationship with him. And then I went to college and I decided to just flip the script and say, no, I don't want to follow this anymore. I don't want to be in this relationship. I want to just see what all the hype is about partying and just going for that more lifestyle. So I got into the party scene and I got into the boy scene, and I just really hated all my choices, but felt stuck because I didn't know how to be who I was. I didn't know myself. So I was just falling into what was right in front of me, and that was partying.
Yeah. It's probably hard to go back to that moment, but so that was your freshman year of college, right? Can you try to remember a little bit what that felt like, just kind of living in that world, but knowing that there may be something more for you?
Yeah, I felt honestly lied to because I felt like when I was out and I was wearing these cute outfits and I was drinking, like that's what was supposed to fill me up, and that's what I was supposed to find my joy in, because it was everywhere. It was all over social media. Everyone just posted like they were having so much fun, and I would go and I would party and I would drink way too much to the point where it was unsafe, that it would just leave me empty the next day and full of guilt and full of shame. And I was just torn in this in-between of, this is what I want, but it's not what I want, but I just don't know what to do.
Yeah. So you got to this point where it's just, you're kind of at the end of your rope a little bit. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. What was kind of the turning point for you, where you just were like, this, enough is enough? What kind of happened next after that?
Yeah, the shame of all of it brought me into a very anxious and very sad place. And I had finished my freshman year and I went home and I knew that I couldn't go back. Mentally, I just could not put myself back in that position. I also knew I just wasn't strong enough to not keep on with those patterns, but I knew that I wanted to recommit to Jesus because that is where I found my joy. And of course, like God always does, he opened this door for me to go on the world race, which is a 9-month mission trip to different areas of the world. And there I was totally redeemed. God showed me that he still wanted to speak to me, and I got to see him move in ways that I didn't even think he would still move, like ways that he moved in the Bible. I got to see firsthand, and I was just blown away.
Wow, that's incredible. So going from this place of kind of darkness and loneliness, and God starting to unveil to you this new way of living. And, you know, we've talked on top of the world race and you coming home, you got involved in this awesome organization, and something kind of crazy happened, you know, as you're in your involvement there, and I'd love for you to share that story as well.
Yeah, so while I was in the Philippines, I got to work with Young Life and I fell in love with it. And then I came back and I knew I didn't want to go to my church, so I started looking for Young Life in my area. And I found Wildlife, which is like Young Life for middle schoolers.
Cute.
And I fell in love with it right away. It was like the first club that we had. I walked in and I just felt so alive. I felt joyful, and I just felt like I had a passion and a purpose for something.
Wow.
And we went to camp and I got to lead it, and it was insane. And I fell in love with my girls, and they were just spunky and sassy and so fun. We had the best weekend ever of just learning about Jesus. And then on our way back, me and 2 other girls were trying to cross the street to get to this restaurant. And as we were crossing the street, this car hit us. And I flew like 15 feet. I had road rash all over. I didn't know at the time, but I had broken my leg from the car hitting me. And I just flew up because I knew that they must have been hurt too. So I just ran over to them, and the ambulance came and we went to the hospital, and they were perfectly fine by the power of God. Seriously, don't know how else, but they had a scratch in their leggings, and that was it.
Wow. Gosh. So what's wild to me about that is that, you know, you've kind of got this momentum in your life. You're like, I went on the world race, I'm devoted and loving this ministry that I'm in, and then this crazy thing kind of happens. And did you feel in a moment like, is this like a setback, or how did that make you feel when that happened?
Yeah, for the longest time, I was just so angry at God that he would let that happen. Because I felt like I was just so on fire and brought him so much glory through it all. And then he would just let me just lead these girls into traffic and be hit. I was so angry and full of shame, and I laughed it off and I was like, oh my gosh, I got hit by a car. But like deep down, I was just so hurt and so broken and had no idea what to do.
Right. That's hard.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And what's great is that the story doesn't stop there though.
No, praise God.
And I'd love for you to now kind of move into the part of finding River Valley and 20 plus. And I know that was kind of going on in the middle of you serving at Wildlife, and you have a funny story of walking into city campus and Pastor Ben being like, seeing your cast or something like that, and he's like, what happened to you?
Like that. I was like, oh, I got hit by a car. He said, oh, and kept walking, because you don't know how to react when someone tells you that they got hit by a car. Like, you play it cool.
You're like, sick. No, but okay, so you started coming then to River Valley here and there, and kind of what has happened since then? You know, that was a couple years ago that I met you beginning of 2019, because I started a life group. God put college students on my heart, and it's just crazy to acknowledge that we're here today, that we're talking about this. But speak to that, you joining life groups and kind of what happened since then.
Yeah, I came to River Valley so broken and just so full of shame in who I was as a person. And I had no friends because I just transferred to the U. And I was so lonely. But I joined your life group, and I was in a season where I had such bad anxiety, and right before it, I had this panic attack in the car, and I was like, I should just leave, like, I'm a mess. And then I said, no, I need to make friends. Like, I'm so lonely. And so I went in and I met you, and I didn't say anything for maybe all of them. I don't think I did because I was
very
just,
minimal. Yeah.
I was just so, shy, but also just so afraid that if I let people in, they would know that I was just a poser. Like, I was trying to live my life for the Lord, but I had done all these things that just made me look fake. Like, who loves the Lord and parties, and who loves the Lord but leads his innocent children into traffic? So all that shame really silenced me to a point where I couldn't even attempt to make friends, even though I wanted it so badly.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you dove in though. Like,
Yeah.
you took that hard step even though you're feeling those things. So you started joining life groups and the internship.
Yeah.
And it's been incredible to watch you grow into this bold, incredible woman of God and communicator, and just to see with my own eyes the growth and the testimony of you stepping into that and God coming in and redeeming and healing those things. And I know something recently happened just about a week ago at a worship night at City Campus. And
Yeah.
I'd love for you to also share what happened there.
Yeah, so at worship night, the song Have Your Way came on, and I am obsessed with that song for some reason. Like, I just really love it. And I just felt the need to just get down on my knees. And so I got down on my knees and I started weeping, like, not with my own tears, but like spiritually weeping. And I could feel the tears landing in my hands as I'm like face down on the ground. It felt so uncomfortable, but in that moment, I felt like I wasn't even inside my body. Like, I saw myself on the floor catching these tears, and the shame of everything that I've ever like done was completely gone in that moment. And I just felt God whisper to me, like, for his glory. Like, the things that used to burden me and weigh me down were completely gone, and God is using my story, which seems absolutely insane to me, to bring glory to him and to speak to people. And yeah, it was the best feeling I've ever had.
Praise God for that he met you and healed and took that away. And it's not meant for you to carry those things.
Yeah.
And I love in all of this too, you know, you spoke to a lot of feelings of loneliness and even feeling abandoned by God, and now seeing you in community and having the best time. And would you just speak to that a little bit too, just the community that you found?
Yeah, God is just so good. I cannot answer. But he's brought me the best friends that I could ever ask, and a large part of me getting this freedom is that I was able to just be open with them, and they showed me what true love is. They loved me even when I told them things that I had never told anyone before, and they looked at me and they said, Molly, you're loved. And I said, what? That cannot be true. You still want to be my friend after I literally just shared that? Like, how can that be? And most importantly, they looked at me and said, you're worthy to have God's grace and his love, and to have friends, and to have a purpose and a plan for your future. And they're the best people that God could have ever brought into my life. And I just look back on those like 2 years of complete loneliness and me crying out saying, God, bring me friends. And now I'm here with some of my best friends ever that I've ever had. And God is just so good, so good. And I'm amazed at the detailing of his work.
Wow, that's incredible. There may be people watching, you know, that can relate to tidbits of your story, whether or not they've walked through seasons of partying or feeling lonely. And what would you say to someone who's maybe in that season, kind of Molly a couple of years ago, you know, what would you go back and say to yourself in that moment?
Well, from where I am right now, I would tell myself that God's working, because last night I was laying in bed and it had finally hit me, like all of the details that had slowly come into play, like meeting you 2 years ago and now I'm having this interview with you. And hearing the song Have Your Way in May and knowing that it always spoke to me, and then knowing to get on my knees in that exact moment and bringing my friends from all around the world into River Valley for me to meet, like God heard my prayers and then he answered them in abundance. So I would just encourage everyone to know that God is moving, and you're gonna have a moment where you look back and you're like, wow, it all came together and I just had to trust that he was working even when I felt completely broken and completely alone.
Yeah, God is faithful and he sees you. And I believe also like the things that you're walking in right now, and a lot of the unknowns still. It's like God is so good, but there's, man, a lot of things we don't know yet. Totally. God is gonna provide and come through. Yeah. And I'm just grateful for you, Molly, that you would take time and say yes to this and step into sharing. So you're the best. And I love you, and we love you, and the best is yet to come for you.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much, Molly, for sharing that with us. Your story is absolutely beautiful. Your heart is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for being honest with where you're at right now, not just what God has done or what he's going to do, but what he's doing in your life right now. I'm so glad that you found community within 20 Plus and found people to do life with you.
Yes, Molly, you're incredible. Hey, if you do not know Molly, you need to get to know Molly.
Oh my gosh, Tyler.
What?
Didn't we say we had 2 big announcements?
We do absolutely. And guess what? I am not gonna share that with you, because here's why. I'm gonna hand it over to our very own Noah Bennett, who leads our 20 Plus worship team. Let's send it over to him right now.
What's up, guys? This is Noah. I'm part of the worship team here with 20 Plus. We're so excited to share with you guys tonight a couple of our original songs. We've been working really hard the last few months to get a bunch of things written for you guys, hopefully coming out here in the next few months as we head into 2021. But hey, we're excited to share what we got with you tonight. It's going to be a stripped back version of a couple of our originals that we've been working on for you guys. We hope you enjoy them as we get into them right now. So sit back, get wherever you need to worship. It's time. We love you guys.
Lines of man-made division. Who could reason that there's a plan? A loving God that knows the broken. You're close to the hurting, and you're close to me. I wanna be set apart. Give me a desperate heart, that's all I want. Anointed one, mighty Father, you are my solid ground I build upon. Anointed one. Even when the world seems caved in, God, I feel you. You're not done moving. And when I feel I'm lost at sea, your love's assured, always finds me. I wanna be set apart. Give me a desperate heart, that's all I want. Anointed one, set apart. Give me a desperate heart, that's all I want. Anointed one, mighty Father, you are my solid ground. I'm built upon. Anointed one, I wanna be set apart. Give me a desperate heart, that's all I want. Anointed
Wow. Those songs are amazing.
Come on.
Amazing.
Woo, come
Amazing.
on.
I'm honestly so proud of our 20 plus worship team. They've been putting so much time and effort into those songs. And here's a little news on the down low. There's more songs that they're working on, and I've heard a few of them. And let me just tell you, they are phenomenal. So keep your eyes and ears open for what's going to be coming out in the future. Wow.
Yes. And hey, normally at this point, we now jump into a time of Q&A. But instead of doing that, as we close here tonight, we're gonna have our very own 20 plus Pastor Katie, and her fiance Brett. They're gonna jump on the 20 plus Instagram. They're gonna go live. And so when we get done with this, make sure you jump on there, come with questions, because they would love to answer those questions for you. Angel, could you pray us out?
Absolutely.
Come on.
God, thank you so much for meeting us here. Thank you so much for reaching through a screen into everyone's living room and just talking to people's hearts and minds, God. And I pray that what you've done in this culture convo, that it wouldn't just be the start, but God, you would carry it out into completion, and that people would begin finding community. They begin telling their story honestly from start to finish wherever they are. I just pray that you would begin building bridges for people and connecting people. We just love you so much. Thank you so much that we get to do this. Amen.
Amen. Hey, what a powerful night it was here tonight. I love that we got to see testimonies from what God's been doing here at 20 plus. And I'm just excited how we're ending 2020. We're not ending 2020 slow. We're not ending 2020. We're ending 2020 stronger in community, stronger as a family. We're excited to see what 2021 has in store. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Be safe. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And let's go.